quickly want to get a sense, your thoughts on the recent IPOs. PhysicsWallah, we were just talking about that. Pine Labs, Lenskart, and Grow. But really, it was mixed if you compare all these companies. PhysicsWallah doing great, Grow doing well, but muted for the other two. How do we make sense of this?
No, so I think it's a function of these are first of all very disruptive businesses. They are very large scale businesses, and I think it's also a matter of valuations that some of these companies are able to come up with, and how the valuations are perceived by the investors. I think we are looking at not only this new age digital companies being raising money, but in fact we are also looking at a lot of other companies coming from various parts of India, from tier 2, tier 3 cities as well. I think, on a broader basis, we are expecting, more and more disruptive and more new age businesses and more different kind of businesses, differentiated businesses to tap capital markets in India. And, not going into specifics about the companies that you mentioned, but, some of these companies have done very well. Some of them have done okay-ish. But I think that's a part of the part and parcel of every market, where some companies will do well, some companies will not do well, some
Right.
IPOs will do well, some IPOs will not do well. But the broader trend is very, very strong from that perspective.
Okay, as I was speaking, we just saw Billion Brains Garage or Grow down about shuffling between 3 to 5% actually, right now 3.32%. I just want to also get your sense on valuation concerns because you've talked about this in the past. You've argued recently, in fact, that we still have valuation aggression, that's what you called it, but a lot of sanity is starting to prevail. Is India managing to convince the foreign investors about this point?
So I think there are two, three angles to this. One is the stock markets and one is the IPO valuations. In my view, IPO valuations are very, very disciplined even at this point of time, in my view. The investors do a lot of diligence. They are extremely disciplined in terms of when it comes to IPO valuations. I mean, we may always see some blips here and there, but in general, the processes that the investors are adopting is very, very robust in my view. My personal view is I think, as we kind of go along, as far as the foreign investors are concerned, today they have been investing money out of India, they're selling from India and going into markets where probably there are more AI-driven markets. We've seen some of the North Asian markets kind of do very well last year. But as the valuations over there kind of, try to be sober, and and in India, I think the valuations are trying to be, and I think Indian valuations are starting to look more attractive as we kind of go into the next year. We might see foreign investors coming back to India.
Okay, I just want to dive a little deeper into this, double click on this point that you're making, the hope that you have, because for some of the companies, the retail participation has been low. Whether that's a concern for you. But more importantly, if I could bring up some data that we've just been gleaning, the BSE gauge of newly listed firms tracking companies for a year after debut has found that the broader market is on course for its first underperformance since 2022. About 40% of the 108 firms in the IPO index trading below their offer price, with a dozen down more than 25%. Now, this is a reportage from Bloomberg. How do you view this particular aspect, given you've said that effectively investing in such IPOs for domestic investors is a step in value creation, and you have optimism that they'll continue to do that?
No, that's a great point, and these are very valid data points. I think one significant area which kind of really drives the valuation after the IPO is effectively the post IPO performance of the companies. And I think the IPO just gives a platform to kind of get listed and then value creation. But ultimately, it's the company's business which really kind of is important for it to kind of demonstrate growth from there on. I personally feel we have seen so many companies who have done not so well after the IPO, but eventually because the stories are strong and because they start demonstrating their performance, we have seen the valuations kind of come back and kind of create value for the overall stakeholders. I think it's a journey for all the companies that they have to go through, and I think rather than linking it to it's just the high valuations, which is why they lost money. I think whether the investors make money or not money, they don't make money in an IPO is a function of not only the valuation but also the business and how the eventual performance of the business is going.